I've been asked to talk about law and social change. But immediately, I have a question that I want to ask of all of you. Can lawyers really make social changes? Aren't lawyers for the status quo? Diba, ang karamihan ng abogado sa atin, who do they lawyer for? We lawyer for big companies because we can get big attorney's fees. We lawyer for the rich and the powerful because we hope that we will also be rich and powerful. But not many lawyers go to law to make changes. This afternoon, I like to talk to you about that kind of law. That small breed of lawyers, sometimes they're called human rights lawyers, sometimes they're called alternative lawyers, who believe that the law can also make a change. If you look at the history of law in the whole world, it's really used for support of the establishment. Yun talaga yung main feature ng batas. But there is also a different kind of law. It's a different kind of law entirely. And it talks about using law to help people to make changes. And ironically, when it started was when we were in the darkest days of our democracy. I'm sure you weren't born yet in 1972. How many of you had parents who were affected by martial law? Anyone? Some of you have. I'm sure in one way or another you have heard about martial law. But not many people have talked to you about what happened to the law when martial law was declared. Did you know that when martial law was declared, all the judges were required to submit their resignation? So that pag hindi nagustuhan ni President Marcos yung decision ng isang judge, he simply has to accept the resignation. The next thing the judge knows, wala na siyang trabaho. Hindi na siya humahawak ng court. Did you know that at that time, there was no Congress? There was no independent judiciary. There was only one person representing all of government. Marcos was the legislator. He was the president. And ultimately, he was the one who also decided criminal and civil cases. Why? Because at that time, walang civilian court. The one making cases was the military court. And who's the commander-in-chief? O, di si Marcos din. So when martial law was declared, law as we know it died. Namatay ang batas. Justice and law, which before used to be connected, became totally separate. What is law is not what is just. And that is what happened during martial law. So you would think that, well, if that's the case, then the law is being used to oppress, di ba? Pagka ganyan, when you have all power put into one person, and siya ang mag-uutos ng lahat, you, Mr. Policeman, you arrest him. You arrest Congressman so-and-so. Put him in jail. Keep him there. Then, where is justice there? What remains only is the naked power of the law. That time, more than 70,000 people were arrested, tortured, detained without charges. My father was one of them. Tuwing bibisita kami doon sa kulungan, all of us, from the oldest member of my family up to the youngest child, naguhubad kami because we were searched, strip search, everything. Even the women and children, lahat kami. When we would go enter and bring a cake, it's my father's birthday, for example, gaganon-ganon din nila yung cake kasi baka may message doon, baka may coded doon. When we were inside visiting him, there were cameras. At that time, meron na silang CCTV camera. Pero noon, low-tech pa. Nakikita pa. Hindi na katulad ngayon, maliliit na lang yung lens. So that when my parents wanted to talk confidentially, they would tell us, marami kami mga anak, 10 kami. Mag-ingay kayo dyan. And they would stay under the TV camera, although we knew may mga bug din, and converse in all of that noise. So there really was no freedom. If my brother or sister was arrested, I could not go to the court and get justice. I could not go to the court and say, come, please order the release, judge, of my sister because she did not do anything. But despite those times when there was really no democracy, there were a few lawyers who said, this is wrong. Mali ito. We want to do something about it. And they said, just as the law can be used to oppress people, pwede rin naman gamitin yan to liberate people from those chains of oppression. What did they do? They fought, but they did not fight with guns because they knew that violence breeds more violence. If you resort to violence, the only thing that will end is more violence. So they decided, yes, we will fight because this is wrong. But we will not fight with guns, we will fight with law. The very same instrument that is being used to oppress our people, yun din ang gagamitin natin. You might be thinking, how did they do that during that time? Nung panahon na yon, magsalita ka lang, magsabi ka lang anti-Marcos. Within 10-15 minutes, guaranteed, you will end up inside the camp. So it took a lot of courage and a lot of guts for them to decide to use the law. But how did they do it? Lugi na kami sa court battle noon. Even if you appear before a judge, the judge owes all of his position to the president. So we realized that there is a larger battle than the court battle. There is a battle for what we understand now as human rights. Noong panahon na yun, walang mga salitang human rights noon. Puro human wrong lang. You could be arrested, you could be detained, and there would be no reason for it. And even if you ask, please tell me the reason, hindi nila sasabihin yan. So began the long process of making all of us understand that we have human rights. Ngayon, pag nagsabi tayo ng karapatang pantao, alam na ng lahat ng tao yan eh. Naintindihan na natin yan. Do you know that for you to understand that the blood of thousands of your brothers and sisters was spilled? That if they did not die, you would not be having this democracy that we have now. If they did not die, you would have no understanding of human rights, the right of a child, the right of a woman, the right of a man to liberty, to dignity, to our democracy. So although we tend to forget martial law, really, the fruits of what you are enjoying now, what we now enjoy as democracy, eto nang galing yan, spilled from the blood and the sweat and the bravery and courage of those who fought during martial law. But it goes beyond that, because the lesson that the lawyers learned there totally changed lawyering. Sabi ng mga abogado nun, even no matter how powerful you are, Marcos, gumagamit ka rin ng legal system. Because you use a legal system, we can use the very same legal system against you. So anong ginawa ng mga lawyers nun? They fought every chance na magkaroon ng kaso sa Supreme Court, kahit alam nilang matatalo sila, ilalaban nila yan. Why? Because the more people become aware, then the more people will fight. Second, inilabas nila yung laban. They brought it to the international arena. They brought it to the United Nations. They brought it to all of these international bodies. Tingnan niyo ang Pilipinas o tingnan niyo ang gobyerno namin. Kasi nagsasabi sila, they respect human rights, but they're torturing everybody. They're putting everybody in jail without charges. Now, why am I telling you this story? Because in your own communities, you see injustice. Where you live, you see a lot of injustice. You see injustice by corporations destroying the environment. You see injustice by local government abusing their power. Hindi ba totoo yun? Am I getting that message across? Nakikita natin yon. And then you ask yourself, alam ko naman nagagalit din kayo eh. Bakit ganito? What can I do? Those are the most important questions you can ask yourself. What can I do? You can do a lot. If the people during martial law, ganun na nga ang sitwasyon, they were able to win democracy, then in your situation where you have already a working democracy, you should be able to do more than our generation.